Thank you for joining me on my YouTube channel. My name is Christiana Sage. On this channel, I will be teaching about international law, and these teachings will be in the form of short weekly lecture series. Over time, I will be surfacing varied concepts of international law. When and where applicable, these concepts will be analyzed and brought to you as it relates to current trends in international law as they arise. At the end of this lecture, you will find the transcript of the lecture in the link below. Also, for current trend and analysis in international law, you can subscribe to my blog. All the details you will find in the comment section below. For the 32nd lecture in this lecture series, we will be speaking to one of the organs of the African Union, the Assembly. Article 5 of the Constitutive Act of the AU establishes some organs of the African Union, and they are the Assembly of the Union, the Executive Council, the Pan-African Parliament, the Court of Justice, the Commission, the Permanent Representative Committee, the Specialized Technical Committee, the Economic, Social, and Cultural Council, and the financial institutions. In this lesson, we will be discussing the Assembly of the Union. And in doing this, we will look at its composition, its functions and powers, and its mode of operation. So let's dive in. Recall that in our previous lesson, we mentioned and recognized the Constitutive Act of the AU. I have also, in the transcript below, included a hyperlink to the document. In the constitutive instrument, as you will see, the African Union is simply referred to as the Union. But for this lesson, we would refer to the African Union as the AU. It is important to note that the constitutive instrument of the AU is always the first point of reference when it comes to affairs of the African Union. Essentially, Article 69 of the Constitutive Act of the AU addresses the composition, functions, powers, voting rights of the Assembly, empowers the Assembly to create its own procedural rules. In a little while, we will unpack all of these things. Article 6, paragraph 2 of the Constitutive Act of the AU refers to the Assembly as the supreme organ of the AU. To this extent, the Assembly is mandated to accelerate the political and socio-economic integration of the African continent. In this regard, it performs so many functions which are highlighted in Article 9 of the Constitutive Act of the AU. Some of its functions include making decisions on interventions, sanctions, restoration of peace in conflict areas and member nations, determination, implementation, and monitoring of common policies, requests for membership of the Union, adoption of the budget of the Union, appointment and termination of justices of the African Court of Human and People's Rights, the appointment of the chairman and deputies of the AU Commission, amongst others. Concerning its composition, Article 6, paragraph 1 of the Constitutive Act of the AU states that the General Assembly shall be composed of heads of states and government or their duly accredited representatives. The AU has 54 member states structured along 5 geographical regions of Central Africa, Eastern Africa, Northern Africa, Southern Africa, and Western Africa. The representatives of each of these member states make up the Assembly. The Assembly may also grant observer or accreditation status to non-governmental organizations, non-African states, regional integration, and international organizations. Irrespective of this fact, it is essential to note that only member states possess voting rights. According to Article 7 of the Constitutive Act of the AU, all issues being decided on except simple issues require a 2/3 majority, which is also the number required for quorum at any meeting of the Assembly. Article 8 of the Constitutive Act of the AU empowers the Assembly to formulate and adopt its own rules of procedure. Article 9, paragraph 2 of the Constitutive Act of the AU states that the Assembly may delegate any of its powers and functions to any organ of the Union. In addition to the power to delegate to other organs, the Assembly functions through some high-level committees and panels. These committees and panels provide insights on certain expert and thematic issues. Examples include the High-Level Committee of Heads of State and Government on the post-2015 development agenda. Another example is the High-Level Committee on African Trade. Also, there is the High-Level Panel on Alternative Sources of Financing, and also the Committee of African Heads and Government on Climate Change. Article 6, paragraph 3 of the Constitutive Act of the AU mandates the Assembly to meet every year in ordinary sessions, and for extraordinary sessions, only at the request of a member state and approval of a 2/3 majority of member states. These sessions are presided over by the President of the Assembly. The current President of the Assembly is His Royal Highness Felix Antoine Tshisekedi Tshilombo, President of the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, who was sworn into office on February 6, 2021. In this lesson, we have captured Articles 6 to 9 of the Constitutive Act of the AU and addressed its composition, functions, powers, voting rights, and the power given to the Assembly to create its own procedural rules. In our next lesson, we will be exploring another organ of the United Nations, the Executive Council. So I want to say thank you so very much for joining in. Remember to like, share, subscribe, leave your comments in the comment section below, and hit the notification bell so that you're notified when there's a new video. We would also like to connect with you on Facebook and Twitter. Let us know the content you'd like to see. Thank you.